you've had a good weekend and everyone's feeling rested and ready for the week ahead. I just wanted to do a quick weekly overview for this week. It's not going to be a real in-depth one. I was just going to really look at the S&P and any correlating pairs. But we've got a few things on the economic calendar this week that I think Monday is going to be quite a slow day in the market. Things that we'd really need to look out for where we could catch some moves. Obviously, we've got the Bank of Japan's basically doing their interest rate decision on Tuesday. Also on the same day, we have unemployment for GB. We also have quite a lot of economic data coming out of Germany that's quite high. Obviously Germany, that's going to play quite heavily on the euro. And then we also have retail sales for the USD on Tuesday as well. We got the Fed's Powell's doing a testifying as well. Not quite sure what that's about. Probably got to look into that. And then we have the PPI data coming out for GB and consumer price index as well. Building permit changes. Fed Powell, he's speaking again on Wednesday. GDP for New Zealand. It's another quite heavy week of data for this week for sure. So we've really got to just kind of be patient for the week and almost try and play the news and the fundamentals that come out as catalysts. That way we can get the direction on the right way rather than trying to sort of preempt the data. So that would be one way to kind of look at the week. But from a technical standpoint, all I really wanted to go over is first, if we look at the S&P, now what we saw here, this huge bearish day here, I believe this is kind of just our corrective phase right now. Obviously, we had this huge bull push up here, and there wasn't really any breakdown or retest of any of this broken resistance to retest it as support levels. So this could quite potentially, just like I said in the last video, we could just be looking at some profit taking here, and then onto some more new higher highs. But it really depends on sort of how the data goes this week with retail sales and everything. So what sort of key levels we'd be looking for? By saying that it's still in a bull leg, we can see that here, even though we do have this extending trend line here, this sell-off has basically just, we've closed back up. We didn't even break down or close beneath this. So we've tested this ascending trend line. We basically retested this broken resistance here. This broken resistance is also basically wedged between our 62 here and our 50 fib of this low to this high. Let me see if I can do a little dot. Yeah, from this low to this high. So we're currently sitting above that 50 fib here. This still looks potentially bullish. What we could see is, just a retest of these highs up here. Obviously, that lines up with our level here as well, so you can see. We could retest here, create a double top, sorry. But really, if anything's going to happen on the S&P that's going to cause it to kind of break down, is we need to break this trend line structure. So unless we get that break, then for now it's going to remain bullish for me. This 62 fib as well, it could pull back and retrace here. We can see how this level here has been quite instrumental on the S&P for a while. There's quite a lot of guarded defense here for any sort of bear attack. So we do need to keep that in mind. So now, keeping sort of that bias in favor for moving forward next week, we're obviously going to look for Kiwi and Aussie pairs to have a little bit of a rally. If we look at the pairs, we can see that they are setting up along the top of some newfound support. Looking at Aussie Yen first. I'm just going to look at daily charts today, guys. We can see we've broken all this trend line structure here, and we've broken above this sort of support level here. We can see it's active as support here, resistance, resistance, support, and then it just smashed straight through it. So if we line our Fibonacci retracement up from this low here to our newest high, you can see that the 50 level has lined up with this sort of zone of newfound support. So obviously we never had a retest of any of these broken structures here. So that's one thing I mean by a corrective movement here is we are purely coming back just to retest these. These are big trend lines, right? I mean, this is holding it down since January 2019. So that's a year-long trend line. Just this one daily trend line here. Not to keep in mind, if we look at it on like a bigger macro level, we've got this huge trend line structure coming up here. So how you could look to play it, which I think is a potential for next week, is obviously with the S&P giving it a little rally. We could be looking to try and get in some buys down here. We'll try. Ideally, what I want to be doing is getting in buys. You can see we've closed back above this trend line structure here. These are those daily trend lines. So closing back above the structure here signifies that we could have some strength. You can see the 4-hour here as well. We didn't create any new lows to close the day. We've closed on this sort of bullish movement here. So what I would want to see is, I said I wasn't going to do 4-hour, but whatever. If we find some support here on this resistance now, then what we're looking to do is basically trade the breakout to retest these highs again. And then, it's up to this massive trend line here as to what it really wants to do. But, having these levels here, quite, strong levels again. Let's put it there. Even if I move it to this one here, you can see how we're lining up for a target, right? So, should this be just a corrective phase of this leg, then, we could look for a buy. You want to take profits there, ideally. Ignore this for now. I'm just going to do like that. Maybe even from there, should we come and retest this sort of these levels here exactly? Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, it's a bigger movement that you're trying to catch there. It's going to be quite hard to, but I mean, like, I would be happy with a buy from like there, obviously down to smaller time frames. Should we break that structure, or, find, if we get a bullish move from here, a bullish engulfing, any sort of bullish 4-hour, we could break this trend line here and retest highs up there. And again, come down and retest that huge trend line structure. So yeah, that's AU, AJ. Similar. It's going to be similar sentiment to majority of these pairs. This probably still got a little bit more leg. There was this small intraday trend line structure. You can see it's finding support on that trend line structure. So again, if we want to look for an intraday move, this sort of level here is where we're going to be wanting to look for it to either find resistance or show a break and then some support and then back on and then upwards. Or we could break this trend line structure and come down to test, the 62 fib here, which is obviously a really strong level of should be support now. We still haven't had a retest of this level. We're looking at them again. That would just be, a pretty good place to buy. I think that, we're not going to find a top tier to sell. I know the favor would be to sell, but to be honest with you, just wanted to layer up some fibs there. Because we can see that the 62 of this leg and this low lines up. So that's what I look for. I kind of like that. I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell this Aussie shit anymore. I'm done selling it. And these are huge trend line structures. So like I said, this is a year-long trend line here, plus year-long plus, right? And we've broken it. If we retest it, we could definitely find some buying power there. On the more macro view, we've obviously, still yet to retest this trend line, possibly. And then we've also got this upper trend line here as well. So it could definitely sort of, if we can take a buy from here, it would be good to hold a buy to see if we break this little sort of here, this sort of trend line structure there that's sort of a lot more short term than these larger ones. But that's what we do. I kind of like to buy that, to be honest with you. Let's see how the week goes. So message. CAD JPY, also, looking at the daily, we've got these levels here coming into play. We're in this sort of wedge pattern shape here, right? So what really matters for me is whether these levels here hold. So anywhere between here, if that holds on a daily, then I just see it as a retest of these broken highs, So, we could look for buys here as well, and then double top. But this sort of, this is a huge trend line structure. It's broken here as well. But we just need to be careful here. Just get this. We're still retesting the backside of this broken trend line, right? So it really comes down to how this monthly candle closes. Are we going to close above this trend line structure here to retest up here, or are we going to close beneath this trend line here and potential more downside? But it could be a false break as well. That's the thing we need to be careful of. Last week's candle, if we had closed above this line here, it would have felt a little bit more bullish. But we'll see how the week goes. What's important is to see if we can close back above this resistance. If we can close back above this resistance here, and just maybe break the highs from Friday. This is Friday's highs here, so you could see a break of structure, any double bottom form here, any sort of bullish rejection here. Then keep in mind that we are still, we have still broken back above this trend line. This trend line coming down here, one touch, two touch back up, buyers down. We broke it. It's holding here for support. Holding here as resistance now, no longer support. But then we pierce back, coming back here, retesting that area here, back to check on this lower trend line to see if it holds the support. If it holds the support, we could find some more bullish potential to come up here. But again, that's longer term stuff. So we're just gonna have to see how the week goes. Same cats we see. We're still inside this channel at the moment. We've had this huge sell-off, but technically we're still inside this channel because we closed above it. We look at the daily as well. We've still closed nicely in this channel. So it still technically could be in a bearish correction, but we'll have to find out. Euro New Zealand, I'm still holding buys on that. No. So yeah, I'm still holding buys on this. This could be a huge one. Obviously, we covered that in the other video. GJ. I'd like buys on GJ here, to be honest with you. It does look like risk on is going to be a little bit strong. Everything's kind of just leading up to these corrective buys. There's an intraday trend line there, but I'm not focused on that. I want to focus on this daily trend line. From this low to this high as well on this Fibonacci retracement. We look to buy on the 62 fib here, which confluences nicely with this huge trend line. We've got a clear bullish structure here, lower lows, higher highs, 1, 2, third leg, we could come back to test these highs up here. That lines up with this target here, which is obviously these highs here. Um, that would be nice. That's what I'd like with GJ, just to buy on that. Let's just see. You never know what you find when you just draw trend lines. So, we're still trading in this pennant shape here, right? So we could definitely see, may not be as big of a move, but why not? Buy on the 62, retest up here. It's still 555 pips. That's what I like on that move there. It's quite a nice little shape forming. And then it's just going to be a case of if we break, whichever way we break on this trend line structure is going to be the continuation of that. GEU as well. I still think we have potential to bounce here. But again, it's going to be fundamentally driven. Technically, we're still in a strong area of support. We could break out. I think we could definitely retest 128. If this area here holds, you can see it's the 50 fib. It's going to also act as your support coming on this lower trend line. You can see this is an important trend line because we've had 1, 2 support, retest as resistance, held the pair down nicely, and now we've retested it as support again, and we've taken another buying bid here. So that's quite an important level. It's obviously the 50 fib here. So I would be looking to get into buyers on anything down here potentially. And that would be nice. I think USD's still got some weakness in it. We've got this consolidation here on NCAD, one to watch. We're either going to break down or break out. We'll just have to watch that. But one to watch, just, I'd mark the box and mark the levels. I'll send a signal if there is anything there. NJ, I was still looking at the daily. We've still had this breakout of this trend line structure here. Gross. And this is an important trend line structure as well, because you can see we've had resistance here, resistance coming into it here, and then it's acted as support here when we had this breakout here. Boom, support, did not hold, broke back down, but now we've broken back above it. It also lines up with our 50 fib here from this low to this high. And it's a little bit confusing with the sell here. I just wanted to see, because we could get a retest here, and then we could take some pips on the way down to potentially retest the 50 fib, which we haven't done yet. So could be another. I don't know. I'm just drawing up ideas, but I think the main thing is this sort of trend line structure here as well to keep an eye out for on potential buys, right? So there's quite a lot of sort of, if we take the sell out of here and get rid of this little pullback here, we're definitely still could be bullish here. In the long term, buying at this level looks appealing. Again, we're retesting that trend line structure as well. But yeah, just one of these things is less of a sort of longer term trade. New Zealand USD. Same thing I said in the video, like if we get rid of these stuff from last week, we're still retesting a broken structure here, right? This is still bullish in my eyes. If we draw it from this low here to this high, we could come down and retest this structure down here on this 50 fib. You can see that's acted as support throughout here. Support, we haven't retested a broken level here. Whenever there's these huge technical moves like this, the sort of retest can be extremely delayed. But they more often do happen. But something like this shows me that there's buyers still up here. If it dropped all the way down like here and melted back down, then that kind of just means there's no buyer support here. So we could be potentially just trading now within this range from here. Back down there. So it wouldn't surprise me if we just kind of played this range around here. There's a lot of pips to be made there as well. On the 4 hour, you see, you could find some support here and then continuation. Yeah, 55th from this low. So it's this one. I mean, these are just the confluences I'm talking about. Low to high. We've got some support structure here. This could be quite a strong support. Again, you're just going to have to look for price action around these areas. Same thing. We could be looking for buys here. If we get down this low, I mean, we get to retest this huge trend line here that's broken out of without like any sort of care. We could get a position like that. Could be favorable. Again, we just have to wait to see. That's an annoying trade. Made some pippage. Anyway, guys, that's really it, to be honest. I think that we're just going to have to see how the week goes, see how the fundamentals go. Keep an eye on all of that. I'll try to keep all the updates in the group. If you have anything that you want to question me or anything like that, UCAD's here as well, still holding buys here. If we can get let me just fix this right now. It's looking good, man. If we can just get some support found here, we could definitely retest this trend line. I'll probably add to that next week. Let's see. But that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, or if there's anything you want me to look at. Don't forget the YouTube tutorials. We've got the first one coming out this week on Fibonacci levels. And then, yeah, guys, looking forward to it. Thanks. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.